Spiritual process means truth is the only authority for you. Authority is never the truth for you.
All religions started as a method to turn inward. But when people try to organize this inward step, naturally it gets distorted. This is because you have reduced an inward step into a set of beliefs. Your intelligence wants to know. It is not ready to believe anything actually.
Spiritual process does not demand belief because belief and spiritual process cannot go together.
The entire movement, what I am heading right now, is towards moving the humanity from religion to responsibility. Now, what you unfortunately know as religion in the world today is just somebody's belief systems. Somebody believes God is round, somebody believes God is square, somebody else believes he's a triangle. That's the situation, isn't it? And you must understand this. Once you start believing in something which is not yet a reality for you, you are bound to be in conflict with somebody else because somebody else is bound to believe something else. No, I believe in my God, but I am not a violent person, I will not fight with anybody. All this is just make-up. If they provoke you sufficiently, you will fight. Like, for example, let's say you believe God has 4 hands. I believe God has no hands. These are 2 belief systems. Tomorrow, out of your love for God, you put 100 feet tall statue in Coimbatore city, of course with 4 hands. But suddenly I feel so hurt. These 4 hands look so ugly because God actually has no hands, because that's my belief. So tonight I will go to that statue, I don't intend to cause any damage to your God, just to make him the way he really is, without hands. So I just cut off the 4 hands. Tomorrow what will happen to you? You want to cut off my hands, isn't it? Simply because you believe one thing, I believe something else. As long as people believe in something, conflict is inevitable. Because you may say, no, we are all brothers, we are all one, everything is okay with us. All this bye-bye stuff, when we really have to come to a point, when I believe what I believe is right, I will try to manifest it. I will try to make it a common thing everywhere, isn't it? Yes? Once I believe what I believe is the truth, naturally I will try to impose it on other people. I don't call it imposition, I call it saving you from ignorance. Yes or no? Once I firmly believe that this is the way God is, I will try to put it on to you, just to save you, not to hurt you. But you will get hurt, because any imposition hurts. When you resist, I will use other methods to put it into you, whatever those methods are. Sword has been used, money has been used, every kind of inducement has been used, isn't it? Simply because I believe one thing, you believe another. Religion is not about belief system. All religions started as a method to turn inward. But it's an inward step. An inward step can be taken only by an individual, isn't it so? It's a very intimate thing, something very, very concerned with only with you, nothing else to do with anybody else. But when people try to organize this inward step, naturally it gets distorted. Now we want to do our religion on the street. Religion cannot be done on the street, it can only be done within you. If you become truly religious, you must be beyond any kind of conflict, isn't it? Both within and outside. That is the whole crux of the religion, isn't it? But today religion means conflict. If you utter the word religion, you're talking generally in terms of conflict that is happening in the world, isn't it? This is because you have reduced an inward step into a set of beliefs. Because if you have to take an inward step, you have to transform yourself. If you have to believe something, you don't have to transform yourself. You can do whatever nonsense you want and still believe God is up in the heaven, isn't it? Yes? The crudest people, the cruelest people on the planet have always been talking about God, isn't it so? Yes or no? All the warmongers in the world have been talking about God, isn't it so? And God has been helping them. See, the moment you believe something, you have a new kind of confidence. That's the biggest problem. When idiots become very confident, the world is in danger. An intelligent person is constantly hesitating with life. With every step he wonders whether what he is doing is okay or not. But a fool has absolute confidence. And when his stupidity gets stamped by God, that's it. No looking back. Just can go on doing the most idiotic things without any problem about it. The very nature of your intelligence is such that if you do something stupid today, tonight your intelligence will bother you, why did I do this? Isn't it so? But if you get God's stamp on your stupidity, you don't have to turn back and see. You can do grossest things on the planet and not bother about it, feel very proud that you're anyway going to go to heaven because you did all this nonsense. There is no experiential dimension, you're just believing something. Once you believe something, your belief and somebody else's belief are bound to clash somewhere. The conflict in the world is not between good and evil, please see this. Though people always claim it is so, it is not true. It is always one man's belief versus another man's belief. So religion has become a problem because we have reduced it into just a set of beliefs. If it was experientially true that you really felt God, then could there be conflict? There is no such possibility, isn't it? But because you're growing from a belief system, you're not willing to make the effort of going beyond what you have gathered from others and looking at life by yourself. That is why there is conflict. If you do not know, there will be no conflict. If you know, there will be no conflict at all. But when you pretend to know, there is bound to be conflict. The fight in the world is not between good and evil, it is just one man's belief versus another man's belief, isn't it? Now this many people believe my story, this many people believe somebody else's story. Can you stop these people fighting after some time? Initially they will say bye-bye. Initially they say we are all brothers, we are together, this, that. But tomorrow, when these people insist our story is right, and these people also insist our story is the real reality, can you stop them from fighting? Anyway they will fight. Please understand, all the fight in the world is just one man's belief versus another man's belief. Simply because they believe things that they do not know. Why don't you be sincere enough to simply see that you don't know. If you see, I do not know, what you will do? You will seek. Because nobody can live with I do not know for too long. So you just believe something that somebody told you, it quells you, it puts you to sleep, but it doesn't get you any closer to reality as such, isn't it? Just makes you believe one more story. Now, these stories, very entertaining, culturally rich, but if you're looking for enlightenment, if you're looking for liberation, if you're looking for going beyond your limitations, they are of no consequence. If you're just looking for color, if you're just looking how to decorate your life, then culture is useful. So let's not destroy the culture, let's enjoy the culture, but don't go by the stories. Don't believe or disbelieve the story, just enjoy the story, isn't it? Now, when it comes to creation, instead of asking why, if you see, right now you are a part of the creation, and like you said, you're entangled and stuck and drowning in the creation, as you say. Not everybody may be drowning, but at least quite a lot of people feel that they're drowning when things go wrong, at least. When things don't go the way they want them to go, they feel they're drowning, isn't it? So right now, in some way you're entangled. Now if you ask me how to go beyond this, instead of asking why creation, if you ask how to transcend creation, now I have a way, I have a method, I have a clear-cut path as to how to go beyond this. But if you ask me why, I can only tell you a story. Even if the story is true, still in your experience it is just a story, isn't it? Yes? Even if the story that I am telling is actually true, as far as your experience goes, it is just another story. If it appeals to your mind, you will believe it. If it does not appeal to your mind, you will not believe it. So, stories won't transform people. You believe God to be a demon and demon to be a god, it makes no difference because after all it's just your belief. The entire movement, what I'm heading right now, is towards moving the humanity from religion to responsibility. If something is going right, it's me, something going wrong. We've lived like this for too long, it's time to change this. We need to understand the source of all our problems are within us, and if we want solutions, they are within us, nowhere else. So moving the world from religion to responsibility, only then human potential will be fully explored. Otherwise, everybody has an excuse for all the rubbish they do, and usually they have divine sanction for every stupid thing that they do. See, this is the nature of human intelligence. If you do something stupid today, tonight your intelligence will bother you, why did I do this? But if it is God-endorsed or scripture-endorsed, you can do idiotic things with great confidence. You don't have to turn back and look. This needs to go. We need to move humanity into a more responsible function. If this doesn't happen, we keep looking up and doing all kinds of terrible things to each other and to ourselves. This is happening all the time. A time has come where human intellect is firing like never before. More human beings on the planet can think for themselves than ever before in the history of humanity. This is the time when heavens are crumbling in people's minds. How many of you think you will go to heaven? After your time is done, of course. You will go to heaven? Okay, all those who made a hell out of themselves want to go to heaven. This happened.
This happened in Alabama. A Sunday school teacher was going on full fire, but unfortunately the audience were not like you, they were tiny tots, catch them young policy. Full fire he was going on in his rhetoric and he stopped and asked, "What do you have to do to go to heaven?" So little Mary stood up and said, "If I scrub this church floor every Sunday morning, I will go to heaven, absolutely." Another little girl stood up and said, "If I share 50% of my pocket money to my less privileged friend, I will go to heaven, correct?" Another little boy stood up and said, "If I help people who are in need, I will go to heaven, correct?" Little Tommy in the back bench stood up and said, "You gotta die first." You got to die first, that's a qualification. And when you die, if you have not done anything eco-friendly, one good thing you will do, we will either bury your body or burn your body or cut it and put it to the birds, depending on what culture you come from. Something we will do, one thing is we'll put the earth back to earth. It's a good thing that everybody will do at the end. Nobody goes with their body. So you left your body here and went to heaven. What is in heaven, you must know. You know what's in heaven? Oh, you must know, you're going. In Hindu heaven, food is good. If you're a foodie, that's where you go. In another place, there are white-gowned ladies floating around in the clouds. If you like that kind of ambience, you go there. In another place, you'll encounter virgin problems. If that's what you're looking for, that's where you go. But one thing is, you left your body here and went to heaven. You don't have a body. What do you do with good food and virgins? It is time we move this humanity from religion to responsibility. I want all of you with it. Thank you very much.
I think if your intelligence functions, if you allow it to function, your intelligence is incapable of believing anything, isn't it so? Yes or no? Yes? Your intelligence wants to know. It is not ready to believe anything actually, but you are forsaking your intelligence because your fear is so dominant. You feel comfortable in believing. But if you allow your intelligence to take you ahead, your intelligence doesn't believe anything. It wants to know everything, isn't it? Yes, is that the nature of your intelligence? So, if you allow your intelligence to function, then you will see all your beliefs will just fall apart because you know you don't know, isn't it? But it takes a lot of pressure to make you admit it. But actually you know that you don't know, isn't it? Yes, then what's the problem? You don't have to admit it to anybody, at least to yourself. Can't you admit, okay, I don't know? If you don't know, do you see you have to use your intelligence? Do you see this? See, suppose, let's say it's pitch dark, you don't know how the ground is. Do you see how alert you will become? Every step that you take? That's how it is. When you do not know, everything becomes bright. It is just looking. Your intelligence is all hyped up and looking. When you assume, I know, everything settles down and you go on with your stupid life, isn't it? Is it all right if you use your intelligence? Do I have your permission? Is it okay for you to use your intelligence? Or is it against God? It's all right. I'm asking you, is it against God if you employ your intelligence and live your life? If God was against intelligence, He wouldn't have created it, isn't it? If the Creator was against you functioning intelligently, it wouldn't have been given to you, isn't it? So, if you employ your intelligence, you will see your intelligence is not willing to believe anything.
There's always been a debate about these two terms, religion and then spirituality. There are people who feel like, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, and I'm not quite sure they know the meaning of that. But they use it because sometimes terms are just thrown around. To those people who are at the crossroad between religion and spirituality, what is your answer to that dilemma?
So we must understand this. It is in the very nature of human intelligence that if you do not know something, if you realize you do not know something, because most people do not realize that they do not know. If you realize that you do not know, it's very natural for your intelligence to seek to know. It doesn't need a guru, it doesn't need a scripture, it doesn't need somebody to introduce that to you. It is in the nature of your intelligence that you wish to know. There are lots of experiments to show, even mice, if you leave them in a place, within 2 minutes, they will research everything in that space. For their own reasons, of course, for survival reasons, they, inquire into everything around them to find out how the place is. Human intelligence goes beyond survival. So naturally, human intelligence seeks to know many more things which does not concern our survival. Yes, we are concerned about survival till a point, but once that's taken care of, we cannot rest. We want to know more, endlessly more. The more we realize we do not know, the more the longing to know. So this longing to know, when it finds a very intense expression in the form of seeking, we call this spiritual process. Or in other words, the basis of spirituality is a realization that I do not know. But the moment you say, I'm religious, you refer to yourself as a believer. When you say you're a believer, what you're saying is, everything that I do not know, I will make it up. How I make it up? Whose help I seek to make it up? Maybe varying from person to person, somebody makes it up because of… with scriptural assistance, somebody makes it up with the assistance of a priest or a pandit or a guru or whatever. But you seek some authority. You kind of make a compromise in your life that instead of truth, you settle for an authority as the truth. Spiritual process means truth is the only authority for you. Authority is never the truth for you. So these are two different aspects, unfortunately spoken in the same breath most of the time. So I would say spiritual process is far closer to scientific enquiry. See, even the fly is trying to investigate me.
Trust me, I'm not investigating, I'm just inquiring.
No,
I wish I was the size of that fly.
I did not
anyway.
use the word investigation in a negative way, nothing wrong with investigation.
Yes, totally.
Investigation means you want to know the truth.
Right.
Maybe it's done a little forcefully like a fly.
Right.
It's coming to you now.
That's all I get these days.
No, if you get to fly, what more?
Yeah, so well, you manage pretty well. I have a fear of turbulence, so flying is not really on my top 3 things to do in life.
So, spiritual process does not demand belief, because belief and spiritual process cannot go together. Spiritual process is a constant inquiry. It is a way of sharpening your questions so that they dig deeper and deeper, not into something else but into yourself, the nature of your existence. Because the nature of human existence is such that in our experience, the only thing that you can experience is yourself. You actually believe you're experiencing many things, but you only know everything the way it happens within you. You do not know any other way. Even now if you see these people, it looks like they are there, but actually you know them or you see them only the way they projected in the firmament of our minds. There is no other way. There is no other way for you to experience this life except the way it happens within you. Now, spiritual process is a constant effort to see that the way that it happens within me is not a distorted vision, that my mirror is not a wonky mirror, it is a plain mirror, that it shows me things the way things are, it doesn't distort anything. Because of my thought, because of my emotion, because of my attachments, because of my identities, because of the philosophies and ideologies that I identify with, I can distort my mirror. Now I deprive myself of all that so that I have a plain mirror and I get to see everything just the way it is. This is spiritual process.
No, well, thank you, because that's always been a continued dilemma. And I believe that the word spirituality is sometimes misused, where there's not a grave understanding of what it really is. And as you said, that the I don't know has immense power. And I think acknowledging the I don't knows of your life really means everything. And I wish people would start doing that, because according to me, sometimes delusion is the biggest disease that plagues humanity, when you're not aware of your own self.
No, there are all kinds of idiots on the planet.
Yeah, we work with many of them.
But we must understand this. In the very nature of who we are, it is like this. If you do something stupid today, tonight your intelligence will bother you. Why did I do this? This is the nature of human intelligence. But the moment your stupidity is either scripture endorsed or God endorsed, you can go on doing the same idiotic thing with enormous confidence. It gives you confidence without clarity. Confidence without clarity is a disastrous process. If you do not have clarity, at least you must have hesitation.
Yes, that's true.